Hello, welcome to my spirituality and magic related channel. I'm Persephone and today we're going to discuss about something very important, and that is signs that you are cursed, how to find out who cursed you with a spell, and what to do if the news are bad and you are indeed cursed. So I'm going to divide this video in three parts. You can skip and get to the part that is about self-defense and how to find out the person if you already know that you're cursed. Let's skip all the intros because they bore me in other people's videos and start immediately. Sign number one, you feel it. I don't understand why there are so many people in blogs, in forums, and in other videos who say immediately invalidating things such as, oh, it's probably all in your head, or oh, it's very rare for you to be cursed, and they teach you in a way to just disrespect your inner voice and your intuition. I'm the polar opposite of that. I will tell you that in most cases, learning to trust your intuition, especially if you're an empath, is a gift. So if you have this little voice inside you telling you that someone is cursing you or you are under an older curse, like a generational curse, I would say we start by honoring that. That is a sign that people who are not cursed do not have. They do not have this feeling that, oh my god, someone is after me. That's very important. Sign number two, you experience bad luck in a string. Like anyone can have a bad month financially, anyone can have one or two failed relationships, but if you have been dating for 10 years and all the relationships have a destructive pattern, if you have tried to be like to have 10 different jobs and you always end up fired, or when you are not fired, the business shuts down or some other calamity happens, that is highly unusual. To most people, like I said, it does not happen. So that is something that you can always compare with other people online or in real life. And if you feel that you have extreme misfortune, then most likely there is something wrong. Case number three, you have some good luck and then something happens and it takes it away. I'm going to share here my own experience. I have dedicated years of my life into researching curses because I knew that I was cursed. One of the reasons that I knew it is because my narcissistic mother kept cursing me non-stop to my face and she was the main perpetrator, but over the years I discovered other people cursing me as well. So I was doing everything I could to fight the curse, and there was one month that I was studying and working same time, and I had managed to save $900 in 1 month, and I was so proud of myself. And then I woke up and the house was flooding and there was a huge plumbing problem that even when the plumbers and the handymen came, they didn't even know why, and all of a sudden the cost for the repair was $900. So if something like that happens to you, that you get an amazing new dress on discount, let's say, next day someone spills wine and ruins it, or you find out the house you always wanted to rent and next day the house is burned down or someone else offered a better price, that is a sign that you're very strong spiritually, you're battling the curse even on a subconscious level, and it still backfires to an extent. Like you get very close, but you don't get the things that you want. Thing number four, you cannot cultivate plants. You could have been a very good gardener or just have some plants in the house and all of a sudden everything is dying, like the plants develop plant-related illnesses. In general, there is a sequence. It starts from plants and pets and children, the most sensitive, and then it moves up to people. Like if you have a family first, you're going to see that your plants and your crops, if you're into farming, they do not actually progress, and you don't have, if you have flowers, they're not going to blossom. Then your pets are going to start having illnesses or stomach problems or allergies. Be extremely concerned when you take a pet to the vet and even the doctors don't know what's going on and they say, well, your pet is throwing up and I don't know why, or your pet is lethargic and I don't know why, although they're on tests. That's a very high sign of curse. Another thing is that your children or your elders in your family or the most sensitive people in general are going to start having problems. Cursing escalates, especially when it's done by professionals. Another sign is that all of a sudden you develop phobias or you develop new feelings that it feels like they're not your own, that you're getting crazy. For example, you may start obsessing over a specific person, and you're going to say now that this happens on love spells, right? It doesn't only happen on love spells. Sometimes there are people that they're so evil, so negative energy, like vortexes, that they're going to do curses to you to make you an obsessive stalker or to lead you into a destructive relationship. So if you find yourself developing obsessions, developing phobias, you're afraid of water, developing things that you never had before in your life, huge sign that there is something wrong. There are other more obvious signs that usually includes those who either consult professionals or they try buy things they see online, which is extremely dangerous. You start finding very strange items in your backyard or in your mailbox. Someone may send you anything, like could be a letter, could be an item, could be you find some strange jar. If you find a jar like that, you never touch it with bare hands, and you have to immediately dispose it as far away from your house as possible. I say these things because it's probably someone who is doing something to you, some form of magic like jar magic or sending you a cursed item. We're going to have to analyze this in follow-up videos, so if you are interested in these topics, please like and subscribe, because I like explaining in detail, and these are completely different types of magic. And another related side is not only you find new items, but you start having missing items. Be very, very careful if you find underwear missing, could be again a destructive love spell. Any kind of item that is very personal and important to you, your favorite notebook, your favorite skirt, or photographs. People who do black magic rely heavily on photographs if they don't know you. So I would say the closer the item is to you, the longer you have it in your possession, and the more difficult it is to get it from your house or from you, the more powerful the spell or the curse. So because I have people asking me, why would someone need to steal a photo when they can just go to my Facebook and print a photo? Because a photo that is, let's say, in your wallet for 15 years, and it's, let's say, the photo of your child, is way more strong when it comes to the spell compared to some photo someone printed from Facebook. So be very careful. Now that we covered this part, I can make a part 2 if you're interested. The next question is, okay, who the hell is doing this? Like, there are people who have someone in mind, and there are people who have no idea. And we should never forget what I call gang cursing. It's like gang stalking, another topic for a new video, but could be multiple people. But usually in this gang of people cursing you, there is usually one main perpetrator, the alpha dog, doing the cursing. In my case, it was my mother. So this is a spell that I developed by myself. It's light magic. It's not going to harm you. It doesn't require any specific, like this. We're going to do it with the simplest ingredients that you have in your house right now, because I hate it when people start saying, oh, this is a spell, and they list 20 herbs and dead bats and like dirt from a cemetery that has been there, like the grave is there over 1000 years. No, we keep it simple. So here's what you do. You take a mirror, any mirror you have in your house. A small makeup mirror is even better, because you're going to need to hide what we're doing. And you take any kind of container, a paper box, a plastic box that you don't use, and you fill it up with salt. I know there are people who say Epsom salt, I know there are people who say Himalayan salt. For me, when it comes to any kind of magic and spell, intention is everything. So if you're very serious about it, just take plain salt from the kitchen for cooking. The cheapest salt doesn't matter, and fill up half the box, and then put a mirror inside the box, or it could be even a piece of a mirror, anything that you can find, and then take a picture of the person that you suspect is cursing you and place it facing the mirror, like the face of the person faces the mirror. If you don't have a picture, that's not the best, but it can still work just fine, because I tried both and both of them work. That's why I guarantee I'm never going to recommend anything to you that I haven't tried multiple times personally. I'm like spirituality guinea pig here. If you don't have a picture, you write down their name and their last name. If you don't know who they are, and again, the name and the last name faces the mirror. If you don't know who they are, just write person cursing me, whoever is cursing me, and it faces the mirror. Then you hide this box into a dark, contained place, okay? And you wait And usually from my many experiments, because in my life I had many people cursing me, that has to do with terrible bad lives of mine, but we haven't talked about bad lives, so I'm not going to expand here. But I had many people cursing me, so I had to repeat this dozens of times. You wait, and usually you get results in the so-called magical numbers, like 3 days, 7 days, 9 days, 13 days, and so on. You put it into that locked place, you close it in a dark place, and you go on with your day. And if you are right and the person is cursing you, this spell is going to have the following effect. First of all of this that I described is essentially a return energy to the sender, which means if the person is cursing you, the curse gets back to them. If the person is neutral, nothing happens to them. And if the person is actually an ally and you misunderstood them, their blessing goes back to them. So you don't harm anyone. This is a spell that you don't increase bad karma at all. So in my case, apparently I was spot on about the person who cursed me, because the next day, like literally less than 24 hours later, I got a phone call from my father, and we speak like very rarely on the phone, and he said that all of a sudden there was a problem at my mother's job, and there was a client who harassed one of the employees. My mother is something like a manager at her job, and instead of my mother helping her, because the woman was beaten badly and some of her hair were ripped off, my mother came there and she started sneering when the woman was crying, and she started saying that, why are you so dramatic? Why do you make such a big deal? Your hair, most of them were extensions anyway. So the woman actually sued my mother for degrading her and not keeping her safe, and she had to go to court. And that is something that my mother is an old person, and never in her life she faced consequences for anything. So I do this spell, and immediately something terribly wrong that has to do with her job happens to her. So it's very safe to assume and to know that the mirror in the picture reflected all of the bad energy back to her. Now you're going to say, okay, that's an extreme case, what happened to you? What if nothing happens to the person? Or what if something happens to them that is bad, but I'm not close enough to them to know them? For example, let's say you also have a narcissistic relative like me, and you are no contact with them, so how will you know if the spell worked? You will know from the radio silence of bad events happening to you. Like if you do this spell and you wait, and on day 3, day 7, day 9, etc., you don't hear any news, then you look at what's going on in your own life. While this spell is ongoing, do you have the same amount of bad luck as before? Less? More? What's going on? If the person is cursing you, even if you are not in contact, all of the negative energy that is going to be sent back to them because of their own cursing is going to cause so many problems that they're going to be distracted and they won't have time to obsess over you. So the negativity is something that is going to start lifting from your life and going back to theirs where it belongs. Now, the strange part, the person who cursed me, if you're going to say, okay, this is like I'm returning something to someone I don't even know. The last part, when you don't know their name and you write person who cursed me in a piece of paper and it faces the mirror, it can actually help you reveal the person. So if you do that, if you feel you are under a curse and you write a person who cursed me and you do the spell, what happens is that days later or weeks later, under a month, under 30 days, you are going to be in contact with some mysterious person that you're usually not in contact with. For example, your cousin from far away may decide to contact you. Your neighbor that doesn't talk to you may talk to you. If during those 30 days, someone that it doesn't make any sense starts contacting you, there is a pretty high chance this person is involved in your case. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, I know this person, they contacted me, and there's no way they have anything to do with black magic, so I don't believe you. There are people who have spiritual powers from past lives who are repressed because they don't have memory of them, but what can happen is that if they have extreme emotions for you, or if something happens and they have very bad emotional day, they can actually curse you without even realizing it. And all of this negativity is going to transfer to you. And to that subconscious level, that is going to create uneasiness on them. This is about people who curse and they're not even conscious of their own power. So it's going to make them contact you. So keep an eye. If there is someone out of nowhere contacting you, they are a suspect. They could be the main person cursing, or they could be one of the gang cursing. Now to the last part. We did all of this, and you are sure that you are cursed. What can you do? I'm going to focus, because I don't want to make this video too long, I'm going to focus on the one thing that you can do, because I make these videos having in mind someone who's completely new to this and who really wants to learn fast and cheap results. I'm not going to make it for like 30-day rituals and stuff that they take forever and they require a lot of money, because I know from my own experience that usually when you're cursed, you're not exactly abandoned either. So the worst thing you can do in this situation is to have no religion. But usually people who have no religion, who are atheists, are people who don't believe in curses anyway, which is actually even lethal. Another very bad belief that you can have is that if you don't believe in a curse, it doesn't work on you. That's like saying, I don't believe in gravity, so I'm just going to take my car and drive off a cliff, and it's not going to kill me because I don't believe in gravity. It's as self-destructive. The curse is going to work on you whether you believe it or not. It doesn't matter, especially if the person is a professional. Many people that we hear every day, and they say he had a heart attack for no reason, he crashed his car for no reason. There's no such thing as no reason. The person was under a curse, and because they didn't believe it, or his family is what I call spiritually blind, they will never find out, but there was a reason. So you have a religion, you immediately get in contact with a spiritual person from your religion, a priest or whatever their name or their rank is, and you ask assistance to lift the curse. I say that because there is not a one-fit-all answer, and if you are a new person to this whole spirituality thing and you don't have the spiritual tools, I don't want you to waste time trying to figure things out yourself. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not going to be the one who's going to be contacted. So I'm telling you the first and the best way that aligns with your frequency right now. If you are in a specific religion, contact the appropriate people and ask for help, and they're going to help you. Because if you say, why can't I just solve the whole problem by myself? Building spiritual defense is something that takes a long time. It can happen, but I prefer to start it with someone, not when they are under attack. It's like someone is shooting you with a gun, and I can actually take you to the police station where they're going to help you defend yourself, or I can give you a gun when you've never even had one in your life and teach you how to shoot. Which choice is the fastest? So if you have done these things and someone came up, you immediately stop whatever you're doing and you immediately contact someone from your religion. Don't contact random people online who just promise to solve curses. Most of them are scammers. Don't contact people you've never worked with before, because I believe that each religion has specific energies. So if you have been a part of a religion for a very long time, your energy aligns with the energy of that religion. And you should follow your intuition. If you feel that contacting a person to ask for help gives you a good feeling, a positive feeling, then by all means go ahead and contact them. In general, try to stay calm, do not panic, because a lot of the curses actually accelerate and become even more extreme when you panic. And remember that whatever it is, especially if it was a product of envy or a product of maliciousness, you can get out of it. Like, for example, if you have a narcissistic mother like me and she's jealous because you're younger than her, yeah, go figure that out, being jealous of your own child for their age. This is a very unfair curse, and it's easier to fight. If it's a curse because you actually wronged the person, then things become a bit trickier, but I would say for now, focus on apologizing and resolving. Like, if let's say you stole money from them, pay back the money and say sorry. Maybe for some people who are not very vengeful and they're not very negative, this is going to be enough for them to move on. If let's say you stole their boyfriend and you cheated, do the same. Now you're going to say, oh my god, what kind of people watch your channel, like thieves and cheaters? I don't know who is watching me. I understand that we're humans, we all make mistakes, So if this happens, shit happens, just focus on resolving it. We start from, like I said, the fastest, because I can talk right now and the case could be worsening day by day. There are cases who get rapidly worse over time, like illnesses, it's a spiritual illness. And last but not least, let's say someone watched me and by this point at the end of the video they're desperate because they say, oh my god, I haven't done anything to anyone. I've tried all of those spells and no one came up. For example, this can also happen, like you try everything and you don't hear any phone calls from anyone and nothing happens. So what is going on? Are you crazy? Then there are two possible cases that I'm going to analyze in the future. Case number one is you're a victim of a generational curse, and the reason that nobody is calling you is because the person who cursed your ancestor is dead and your ancestor is also dead, so you can't have an immediate phone call, but the curse is being passed down from generation to generation. More challenging, but we can solve it. And case number two is actually you were like me. Actually, I realized that my terrible situation spiritually is actually a tool to help other people, so I'm in a sense grateful for it. You had terrible bad lives, you did terrible things in one life usually, and you progressed through many lives not fixing them. And as a result, for example, if you cheated in one life and you never apologized and you kept cheating in other lives and you dated 10 people and you hurt all 10 of them, in this life your karma could be so bad that you only date cheaters, you only meet cheaters, because it's like rapid school to learn what happened. This is a case because of a lot of spiritual brainwashing and destruction of spirituality. We're even more brainwashed to not remember our past lives, but there are ways to remember a lot of things. So the first thing I would do in this case, if I were you, is don't panic. Just start trying to connect the patterns in your current life. Like, is there a person that keeps reappearing? Is there a type of person that keeps reappearing? Could be one person consistently or many people, but with the same, it's like you see the same play with different actors. And we start from that. And again, it's not a bad idea at all to contact some person from your religion and ask them for assistance. If anything, to not make things worse. And if you have ancestors or if you have people that know your ancestor, it's always good to ask questions and say, like, did anything happen in someone in like our family tree? Is there any crime? Is there any like activity that could be illegal? Is there any murder? Anything that you can think of that could make someone want to curse one of your ancestors. Because information is power, you know? I hope this video helped. Like I said, I'm going to make videos about many different topics that they are on this type, like of spirituality and sharing and solving problems. If you have questions or comments or anything, I'm very happy to read them and respond the best I can, so please leave them in the comment section, okay? Thank you for watching.